It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen. Is there anything in there? Did you put beer in there? Oh, yeah. Shit, I missed that entirely. That is like a little pumpkin knick-knack you can get from like my childhood like apple orchard pumpkin patch that I'd go to as a kid. And we went there last year. We both got these stupid fucking pumpkin cups. And I think when we both got home, because we were still living with each other around that time, roughly, or were we? Yeah, because it was before my wedding. And we both put alcohol in that. And it was just such a like full circle moment of like as an adult sipping booze out of a little pumpkin toy almost.
Yeah, there was no booze in here originally. No, it was like apple juice cider, or something.
Yeah. That is like a core memory of going to like the same Apple Jack's orchard or something in Delano, some fucking place in Minnesota, and getting that every year. I love that stupid fucking cup.
And now we can put Chill City Golden Lager from Fulton Brewing in there. Yeah. So I wanted something stronger, but I didn't have anything stronger, so beer it is. Got a few more on tap.
Imagine putting like Maker's Mark in there, or what was the Lagavulin, the Nick Offerman Lagavulin?
Oh yeah, that was good.
Fucking hurt.
Put some Everclear in here.
Find Cal. Call Cal.
Yeah, put some Rain vodka in here and just puke on the podcast.
Corey, what do you think of Frankenstein? Sorry for the fucking just yell at the microphone there.
Yeah, that's fine.
But let's talk movies. New releases, what we have to look forward to. It is October 26th when we're recording this, so we have a lot of kind of spooky-ish shit to talk about, especially with the newer releases that we saw this past week. So, Corey, I'll let you lead the way with what the big release was for us this past week.
Yeah. Happy early Halloween to everybody. We'll record next week after Halloween. Yeah. So, this week was Shelby Oaks. This was the one movie I saw in theaters this week. We've talked about it a lot. Comes from Chris Stuckman, who, if you aren't... You good?
I just saw the note after Chris Stuckman's name. I forgot I put that.
Oh, yeah, I think you put that there a couple weeks ago.
It's still
I don't think legally we can say it on, here, but whatever.
I think legally we can, and just this wouldn't last long. This podcast would get shut down before people even discover it.
Probably. We're still within the first, couple minutes of this, recording, so...
Yeah, you can't say that.
I don't know what the rules are for this. But anyways, Chris Stuckman, if you're not familiar, he's been a movie critic on YouTube for over a decade. And for the last, probably 5 years or so, he's been trying to get this movie made. This became the biggest movie to get, a wide release that was started from a Kickstarter. Crowdfunded movie. You contributed to it. Mm-hmm. You got a poster.
Fuck, I got 2 posters. I was going to bring them both over so that you could pick which one you wanted. Because I got the one with all the backers on it that make the face. And it's, really TV staticky.
Did you find your name on there?
I couldn't find my fucking name, and I was a little salty because I went alphabetical, and I'm like, where the fuck am I?
I think there's, he said there's a website you can go on, and, it'll show you where your name is.
I might need to do that. But, So I got that poster, and I think I got the original, first poster of, the one sheet of just all black background and, the overexposed white silhouette of Riley, I think her name was.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, fuck, I was going to bring those over. So next week I'll have to bring them both over.
Right on. Yeah, so just a very cool and very personal movie for us that we've been looking forward to for years now. Anytime we got a little update, it was so exciting.
Yeah.
And, it is every review watching, Jeremy Johns or Flickpick or Dan Merle, they all have been I'm going to try and separate my bias of knowing Chris as a person from reviewing the movie. Mm. Obviously, we'll kind of try and do that, too, of just being fans of Chris and also just looking at it as a movie. But as fans of Chris, it's so cool that this movie's out there, that it happened. And I would love to see anything he does in the future. I'm very excited for that. But do want to get into the movie itself, just like we would review anything else. So the movie is about a woman played by Camille Sullivan who is searching for her long-lost sister, who started this YouTube channel, The Paranormal Paranoids, with a few other people. They would go around and look at, haunted buildings and prisons and all kinds of stuff like that. And then one day she went missing. And then Camille Sullivan takes up the search and kind of gets involved with this demon from their childhood. And it's a nice, it's story that you've seen before of some of this demon stuff and kind of searching for somebody. Obviously pulling a lot of influence from Blair Witch, from Hereditary. You mentioned Silent Hill, which I haven't
seen. Also, these 2 movies. I don't know if this is really in focus, but Ghostwatch, Lake Mungo, 2 films that he is massively, preached and praised on his own reviews, or within his own reviews and on his own channel on YouTube. So you could see and feel a lot of the influences of some of his favorite movies that he's talked about for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I want to start out with the positives here because I think that there is a lot of promise in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
Like watching the movie, you know, just with our background and everything, you're maybe looking for the seams a little bit of like, is this gonna look like a YouTube fan movie or something? Like, I don't know. Even like the first time the trailer came out, I was kind of like, does it look, you know, kind of cheap or whatever?
Yeah.
But it doesn't really. It looks really good.
The surprise and the relief when like a handful of minutes has passed in the opening parts of this movie, and I'm like, no, this just looks like a movie. Like, this looks like a normal, not like it should look like a wide release movie, but I was like, oh, okay, like, I don't have, like, the worry of it looking cheap or feeling like thrown together or crowdfunded. Like, Neon did a good job. I'm sure that I think Neon did give them a little bit more money once they
like $1
acquired
million
it.
more dollars,
They
yeah.
almost doubled the budget. And I think they definitely probably went back and reshot things or added things in that they probably couldn't have due to budgetary concerns earlier on in the production. So Neon they put out a good looking movie. I was really kind of blown away by how good and just like crisp this movie looked in terms of just like the cinematography. The effects are largely pretty good too. So that was a big kind of, okay, we're fine. I don't need to be worried about that for the whole runtime of this movie, which it's not the longest movie either. So I was really, this movie clips along. Like I was really pleasantly surprised and pleased by that too.
Yeah, and I think that there are actually some good scares in this movie. We talk a lot about how modern horror movies, they don't scare us all that much.
Yeah.
There's not, like, they're good movies a lot of times, but we just don't feel scared by them. This movie actually had some good moments in there. A scene in a prison I really like when she's in this kind of room, and then just kind of the shadows that are playing into that, and they don't show a lot in that scene, but it's pretty effective. Also a scene I was talking to you about towards the end of the movie, and sort of tunnel basement, I'll say, with an older lady and just like the eyes. There's a few shots of like eyes in this movie of like through a TV screen or like through a window or in that tunnel. And I think that's all really great imagery that I was like, wow, that's actually very impressive. And I do like the ending to the movie, actually. I think it is maybe not executed the best, but I like the idea behind it, and kind of the final shot of the movie I think is pretty effective and, you know, sort of reminiscent of Hereditary in parts, for sure. The third act, for sure. There's, like, even a scene in the attic in the third act where I'm like, this is like pretty derivative of that, which I understand. Where I think this movie could have used a little work, and a lot of people have mentioned it, is in the writing. For me, you know, some of the dialogue that's where it felt a little cheaper, I guess. Not in, like, the look of the movie at all, but there I was like, it's kind of generic and whatever.
Yeah.
Also, just in some of just kind of how the plot unfolds in the movie, the part where I noticed it the most was where Camille Sullivan is investigating at the prison, and she's walking around with a flashlight, trying to find clues or whatever, and then goes out to this, like, amusement park, the abandoned amusement park, and is looking around with a flashlight, kind of investigating, finds an old creepy house, flashlight, investigating. I'm like, okay, a little repetitive and a little clunky just in getting from place to place, where it doesn't feel like it's a natural story. It's kind of just like, all right, we have these settings, we have these areas we need to get to, but just kind of that in-between connection wasn't quite there. So I think that's just something with, like, more experience that you just clean up as you're, you know, become a more experienced director and screenwriter.
Yeah, I think, like, visually this film looks, like, relatively good, really good. And I like the atmosphere that is developed within this. I do think also, as a director, you have to tell a cohesive story, you have to have a vision, but also a big responsibility that is saddled on you is getting good performances out of your actors or actresses. And I think all the performances in this film were really surprisingly good. Not that I went in expecting them to be awful or bad. It was just like, oh, what? Like a first-time director, guy coming from YouTube. I was like, and we're getting good performances from all these actors, a lot of whom I never knew before this movie. You do get a little cameo with Keith David, which was really cool. You get Michael Beach in a couple of scenes, and I'm like, Michael Beach should be in this movie more. Same with Keith David, or like maybe make that character one person. There's just a lot of things where I'm like, you could probably tighten this up and like make this happen for this reason, or like there's a lot of conversation about like the husband and wife dynamic with Camille Sullivan and the actor that plays her husband and them not being able to have kids, and I'm also like, okay, I get that, but why, like, you guys are at conflict and the husband kind of disappears. I'm like, why don't just like have him come with, like, there are some sequences I'm like, I get this is a horror movie and things need to happen a certain way so this can be scary, but also I'm like, why are you going to this town at like pitch black at night? Like, come on, like there's some like forgivenesses you have to throw this film's way to just be like, yeah, all right, it's a genre film, it's a horror film, all right, yeah, so you're going here at night, okay, you're in this prison at night, okay, like that's fine, but there's like little like writing hiccups and like plot hiccups for me. The dialogue didn't really bother me a whole lot, but it was more of just kind of the plotting, and it got to a point after that prison sequence, which is one of like more of the standout sequences I think for me in the movie. But after that, when you get to the town, and it's just like, I feel like it's too fumbled about. Like it's just, we just happened upon things.
Yep.
And I'm like, if this has been a mystery where you didn't know where your sister was for so long, and you had one research scene, and then you just kind of fumbled about the town for like all of 10 to 15 minutes, and now you found her? Spoiler alert. It's like, how has she been missing for however many 9 years or whatever the fuck it's been? Like, how is this mystery still a mystery? Like
the timeline was kind of confusing me. I'm like, how long has it been? And like, why did it take so long? So I agree for sure. Another part I want to mention is the first probably like 20-25 minutes of the movie is kind of like a found footage squeaking.
I know. I'm trying not to, but the seats like bunched up. You
just got to raise the chair.
I do. Oh my god! I never really thought about it.
Then it hits
you keep talking.
Fucking idiot.
Don't look at me.
Oh
my god! Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, nice dumb fuck.
I've never thought about that as a solution to this issue, and it happens every week. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just gotta scoot further away, and then I sit like almost out of focus or in the shadow, whatever. Anyway. As I just completely interrupt this entire review, which may be one of the better things we've talked about.
No, so the first like 20-25 minutes of this movie is kind of in a documentary style where this crew is interviewing Camille Sullivan's character about the disappearance of her sister, Riley Brennan, and about this whole kind of campaign that like who took Riley Brennan is painted across the town. Yeah. And they do a lot of like found footage stuff of early YouTube and showing the YouTube channel. And I liked that as a initial way to get into this movie. I just think it went on a little bit too long for me. Again, of just kind of repeating similar beats where we'll see, like, they point out multiple times, this is the last time that we saw Riley Brennan in a YouTube video on their Paranoids channel. And then you see that and you're like, oh, cool, okay, this is interesting. And then we kind of go back and do it again within that same segment of the movie where like the documentarians are like showing that same thing again, and you're like, yeah, we've seen this. We can kind of get into the like the investigation now. Like I want to get there a little bit quicker.
There's a lot of news coverage of it too, and a lot of like you want to have a bunch of different perspectives and build out kind of a world and show that this is like kind of a big missing persons case, and like especially in the goings-ons of like this small community or smaller community. But also it feels like we've said it all with 8 different news stations.
Yeah.
Trim it down. They're all saying the same shit. Like you could probably just like tighten up some of this stuff. Again, I have no issue with like the overarching story of where it starts, some of the more climactic moments in the middle, and where we end ultimately. It's just some of them are a little sloppy. I'm like, not that this is a first draft, just because I feel like from what I've heard about the making of this has been something that he's kind of gradually worked on for a long time. Mm-hmm. Cool, you can kind of feel the passion. You can feel the passion behind it, but I'm like, there's like missteps here where I'm like, I feel like he has to know or be aware of it in an edit. Like once they're editing, like he's like, all right, well, this could have been better. Like I'm sure he's probably nitpicking his own movie at this point because he is a film reviewer at heart. But there are things where I'm like, this could be cleaned up, shorten this. This is good. This like that climactic scene or towards the end, like the last 5 minutes. I was telling to Corey before we started recording, there's kind of an altercation or like a moment of action involving a window, and it was I like the idea. I like what happens with it. I like the ending of that moment, but I'm also like it's the way it's shot and the way it's kind of cut together feels kind of sloppy for what is a rather pivotal moment in the final moments of the movie. So it's just like there's things that I with experience, and I think he definitely warranted or has enough kind of positives within this film to back up, yeah, you could make another movie. A lot of the complaints I've seen of like, maybe get a writer or maybe have someone help you write. Yeah. Don't rely wholly, like, yeah, you want to have like, this is all a brainchild of me, like from my heart and bones, like this is a horror movie that I thought about, like everyone wants that experience and to have that achievement. You can't, like, seldomly do people actually achieve that unless you're like a Jordan Peele or some shit. So I'm like, you got on base. You could have hit a home run if you had some help, I think. Like and like maybe another pass on the script, clean up some of like kind of the plotting where it is a little bit generic. But like I got what I wanted out of this movie. I went to an AMC Screen Unseen, which I think I mentioned probably on last week's episode when we were talking about Shelby Oaks coming out. They had a showing that Monday night for a thrill and chill, so like you immediately know it's a horror film. It had a rough runtime close to what Shelby Oaks' runtime is, which I was thrilled by because Shelby Oaks, it clips along. It moves fast. Like I never felt really bored in the movie. There are times where I'm like, this is a little repetitive, but it moves at a good pace. But I got to see it at a theater where like other people weren't expecting to see Shelby Oaks. Also, I doubt people in the theater were like, I hope it's Shelby Oaks like I was. Not that I'm cool, but it was just like, I'm excited to see this movie as a movie I've been so excited about. And for people that know nothing, hopefully nothing about the production, who this is coming from, what it's about, to just experience it raw. And from like the chatter of the theater leaving, people received it positively. And there were some good moments that got my audience involved or like got some good reaction out of them. So I had a good time at the theater watching this. And I was really satisfied with what I got out of it, even if it's not the most original thing. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It weirdly, it's like nostalgic. Especially with the found footage aspect, just because I feel like growing up, you and I, like, in middle school, elementary school, even with the first Paranormal Activity, like, we had found footage movies just up the fucking ass, just because they're cheap to make, they're easy to turn a profit, and a lot of people typically go to see them. And I think the first Paranormal Activity movie is perfect. Like, that is an awesome movie. And I love Blair Witch. And to get that aspect in this film, I was like, this is like a trip back to the past. Like I really enjoyed that and respected that about this film, but it's not the best movie ever, and it didn't need to be. It was just like promising, and it gave me a good October horror atmospheric watch. So I was really impressed and borderline like really excited by what I got out of this movie.
Yeah, I think I would 100% agree with that. I think that the story was interesting enough for me. Like I like the investigation of a sister, trying to find her sister. And I think a lot of promise here. I think just some of the frustrations are kind of funny because it's like horror cliches that Chris Stuckman has reviewed and kind of bemoaned for years.
About and like
jump scares or repetitiveness in movies or just certain things.
Or the research scene, which you get one in this movie, but I'm happy that it's pretty quick. But like you still get the research scene where the main character goes to a library and looks shit up on a computer. It's like you could have done that in your own house.
Yeah.
Didn't need it. Like whatever. It's just it's funny to see someone critique things and then be like, well, all right, this is a horror movie. I should put these in here. Right.
So just interesting in that way. But like we mentioned, I think there's so much potential with Chris if he does want to do another movie. And I think that he has a lot of possibilities for where he could go, whether it's horror or other genres for sure. Mm-hmm. I'd be curious to see that. And I'll be very curious to see if he reviews this movie. I wonder if he would do that. Like, taking a look back and being like, here's what I wanted to do, here's what happened, and here's where I want to improve.
I think that'd be, like, a really cool thing of him to do. I think time will need to pass. Like, I don't think he could do it, like, this week.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be, like, 5 years later. Or, like, a bonus feature on some commemorative... I can't talk. What's the word? Commemorative?
I just want to see.
There, I got it! Shut up! Commemorative. I was missing an M. A commemorative release of this film, I feel like he could do that as like a special feature of him actually like in his home studio doing a review of the movie. I think that could be a cool thing to kind of juxtapose like, hey, this is what was in the script, this is what we got, this is what I was hoping to do, this is what we got. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be a cool kind of thing for him to kind of break down piece by piece. But overall, I was a big fan of it. I can't wait to get the Blu-ray. I pre-ordered that. I did post a review of it on our Instagram. I gave it a B+. Like it's not a perfect horror film. It's I think relatively effective in what it sets out to do, and I was really satisfied by it. I gave it a better review and a better grade than Black Phone 2. Is it a better movie than Black Phone 2? No, not really. But it's just what I got out of it, and we announced this at the beginning of this and try to acknowledge that we do have biases. I do have a bias towards this because I went in really wanting to love this and I was really happy with what I got out of it. So I went in with a specific mindset and I think the movie earned it enough to where I'm really satisfied and happy with it. So I'd recommend go seeing it. We're kind of light on horror movies, at least in this final release week of October. So I might go try and check it out again in theaters, even on Halloween Day. It might be fun. I think my wife might actually get a decent experience out of this and might like this, so I might try and drag her along with me. But aside from that, a movie that is in limited release that we got showing up in a couple of theaters in our area was Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo del Toro. I believe it's going to Netflix early November 7th. And this is coming from Del Toro, so visually this is going to be just a feast for the eyes. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be beautiful, and with some of his more recent works, it might be a little bit too long. Not to bury the lead or show too much. I do think that this movie at 2.5 hours long for a movie that's based on a story that in film past, in film history, the Boris Karloff film is maybe an hour and change. Like, it's not a long movie at all. This is a 2.5 hour exploration of the Frankenstein story. I think you have a bunch of great performances with Christoph Waltz, Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi surprisingly as the monster, and Mia Goth as well. And it visually is a very arresting movie. I just was waiting for this movie for me to set itself apart from what I already know of Frankenstein and this type of story. You have a man creating and beating mortality, having the solution. We can reinvigorate and bring people back to life. I can take these scraps and make a human out of it. It's the age-old story that we've heard a bunch of times, and we hear it largely again in the same way. At least for me, it wasn't different enough to really set its thematically and story-wise. It didn't set itself apart too much from what I've already experienced with Frankenstein, but it is told through the beautiful eyes of Guillermo del Toro. It is shot by shot. It's that's a painting. Frame that. That's a perfect still. Frame that. This movie looks incredible. The visual, I have no idea what Netflix did or what Netflix gave Guillermo del Toro in terms of the budget for this movie, but it had to be a lot because this movie looks expensive, which you can see every penny. Whenever this movie, you could tell me this movie was $300 million, I'd be like, yeah, I believe it. You can say it was 150, I'd be like, how? But I believe it. It's a beautiful thing to watch. The performances are all great. Jacob Elordi really did surprise me. Oscar Isaac, the movie is called Frankenstein, and Oscar Isaac I'd say 55% of the time he is the lead. The other 45% is Jacob Elordi's film. And I think while sometimes it lacks kind of originality or inventiveness in terms of the story that we're getting out of this story we've heard a million times before, it's fun to watch. I was never bored. It's a little long, and I don't think it 100% earns that runtime. I think you maybe either give me something new with the story or just rein it in, trim it back a little bit. There is a couple of moments of humanity and some poignant moments between the monster and Victor Frankenstein that really worked for me. And I was like, see, let's dive into that more. That's more of what I was hoping out of this. This is giving me something almost new. We're building off of something. But they were usually especially in the fleeting moments. I will say the film structure of this movie grated me initially. I mean, it still does. Immediately within the film, I was like, I'm tired of films doing this setup technique. So this is the only spoiler I'm going to give. It starts on this is a 12-chapter book. Not that it's actually numbered in the movie, but just go with me here. Let's say we have a 12-chapter book. We're going to start on chapter 11 and give you that first scene and give you a setup point, and then we're going to flash back to chapters 1 through 6. Flash back to chapter 11, flash to chapters 7 through 10, and then flash back to chapter 11 and get chapter 12. I'm tired of movies kind of using that structure of starting where the main conflict is at and then going back and revisiting how we got here. I think Rick and Morty did an episode about it where they're like, let's just fucking start the story where the story starts and not just pick the most important or one of the more climactic moments. Because a lot of time, there's a lot of good exploration of the characters in that movie where you're going back in time and looking at Oscar Isaac's childhood. A little bit too long in that aspect, but really good stuff included within that. But we start at the conflict, and I'm like, that's the most engaging part. And now anytime you pull me away to explain why this is important or why this is interesting, I'm bored and just waiting for us to flash back to this. So I feel like that structure for me has really gotten tired in films, and I get really kind of fatigued by them. So I'm just like, just fucking in order. I know it's kind of bland if you tell a movie in order nowadays, but fucking just beginning, middle, end. Just give it to me. Don't jump around. I don't need it. You're not Christopher Nolan. Settle down. Just tell me the story. A little bit heated on that. I really like this movie overall. It's not my favorite Guillermo del Toro movie. I put it in that echelon of the Nightmare Alley, some of his like Chronos, like some of his like more like mid-high tier, because like Pan's Labyrinth, Devil's Backbone, those are like some of my favorites. Those are fantastic movies. Shape of Water especially, but like on the level of like Nightmare Alley, the first Hellboy, like Blade 2, it's in a good company. I think that even with my issues, this is probably the definitive like version of Frankenstein. If I was ever going to revisit a Frankenstein movie, it would be this. I just wanted something more on top of the story that I expected to get.
So I planned to see this movie this week, and then I went out the night before and had a lot to drink, and then woke up hungover. And I'm like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah, the runtime is a little bit it's a handicap for this movie. It's hard to get past.
So I will be seeing it this upcoming week as sort of I feel like a perfect Halloween week, kind of fitting that vibe for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's a match made in heaven, it seems like, of Guillermo del Toro and the world of Frankenstein. Like, that's perfect. My only thing is that I'm like, I want del Toro to go back to like doing Nightmare Alley or Shape of Water things where they're a bit more original, as opposed to his last couple where it's been Pinocchio and Frankenstein. I'm like, I want you to do original things again. Like, I get it, you're probably very passionate about both of those projects and want to like get them out of your system sort of and like make that movie and do it, but I hope he does something more original.
I will say, I think, because you don't love Pinocchio or his Pinocchio film. I think you'll like Frankenstein more, and you like Nightmare Alley. I think you'll agree with me that it's kind of on that tier.
Okay.
So it's a good enough time. It is visually stunning. Like, this movie better get nominated for some sort of visual category, whether it's effects, like the effect. I don't know what was practical and what was not, and I think that is a very awesome awesome issue to have with a movie. Of like, I don't know what's real or not. It all looks great though. Like, it's all convincing. The design of Frankenstein, or the monster, I should say, is really cool and more scientific, as opposed to like kind of that classic like big brow Boris Karloff example that we have. So this movie really works for me. It's just too long. Didn't give me enough new, but you can give me a long movie directed by a person who has the visual aesthetics and talents of Guillermo del Toro, and I will happily watch it no matter how long it is. Just sometimes where I was like, what do we, this scene could probably be cut. Like, there's some things where I'm like, we could tighten this easily, which like is a pretty common complaint I feel like you or I have of like, cut 10 minutes out, please. Like, 2.5 hours, like, all right. So, but I would recommend it, especially like, Netflix, if you knew it was good for you, you would only put this movie in theaters. This is one, like, we say this all the time about Netflix original releases or Netflix movies going to theaters for a limited time. This is a movie that should be a full theatrical release because it is stunning. It is so cool. The colors are so good. It's like watching Crimson Peak. You don't want to watch that on Netflix. Like, if you saw Crimson Peak in theaters, you fucking peaked at life because that movie's amazing and beautiful. So, Netflix, figure your shit out. That's a complaint I always have, but this is a movie that if you have time and if it's showing near you, you definitely should try and seek it out before it lands on Netflix. Yeah, glad that it is coming to theaters for a bit. I'm sure it will get some below-the-line Oscar nominations, just from what I've seen. So I'm excited to watch that. I also am going to try and see Springsteen. That was the other big release from this week. It was just kind of a busy week, a lot of sports and other stuff going on. So those two I'll definitely catch up on for next week. But this week, I did continue my Texas Chainsaw Massacre watch through, and this week was a bit more fun because the ones that I watched were actually good. They were kind of what I was looking for with this franchise a little bit. So I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003, which is a remake of the original movie, directed by Marcus Nispel, who also did the Friday the 13th remake from 2009, which is my favorite Friday the 13th movie. Very good movie.
Yeah,
like,
really
awesome
good.
Remake of that.
Yeah.
Especially like incorporating as much of this beginning story of I almost said Freddy Krueger, of Jason Voorhees. Mm-hmm. Remake is great. Yeah,
does a really good job, and it was in this era where Michael Bay was producing a bunch of horror movies.
Weirdly enough.
It was like, okay, sure. But this movie stars Jessica Biel, who is insanely hot in this movie. That was the first note I wrote down. I'm trying to take more notes on the movies that I watch. That was the first thing I wrote down.
I feel like that's not something you need to write down. You would remember that. Like,
yeah, I would, but I just want to make sure I mentioned it.
Yeah, obviously.
So that's a lot of fun. It's the classic, lead horror girl in a movie running around.
Mid-2000s crop top type.
Yeah, white tank top, whatever. Yeah, falling in puddles and stuff. That's fun. Yeah. But anyways, it is the same story as the original one. 5 friends are... they're on their way to, I think it was a Leonard Skinner concert, and they find themselves in Texas, and come across the chainsaw wielding Leatherface and his family of cannibals. Interestingly enough, they don't really play into the cannibal thing that much in this movie. It's kind of hinted at a little bit more, but they don't actually show it like a lot of the other ones do, which I'm fine with. That's not something I need in one of these movies, really. But I think this movie is a really good remake. I think it does a great job of following the same basic formula, but not being a shot-for-shot remake. I kind of think of when I watched through the Omen movies a couple years ago. There's I think it's 2006 remake with Liev Schreiber that is just a direct shot-for-shot remake of the original movie, and it's not very good because it's the same thing. This movie does a great job of having the same basic beats of A to Z, but everything in between of B to C to D. There's a few different things that are different in there. There's, interestingly enough, there's not a dinner scene in this movie.
And that's the scene.
Right, and
the original.
I don't know, I haven't obviously watched the latest movies. I'll get to those this next week, but all of the other first 4 movies and the next one I'll talk about all have that dinner scene. So it kind of takes some departures there, which is interesting, and I think it actually works for the movie. It just, there wasn't really a place for it here. And they do add a couple new scenes. There's one really good one in the third act at this meat processing plant where Jessica Biel is going through this cooler of all the meat hanging down, and the camera's kind of moving in and out of there as Leatherface is going in. It's a cool new scene, and I like it. So I think it is kind of funny enough when a couple weeks ago we talked about that original movie and how you brought it to a Halloween party in middle school.
And it fucking landed like a sack of fucking potatoes. No one liked it.
Yeah, this movie I think would be great for that. This is it has that same kind of grimy, dirty feel. It doesn't lose that really. It's a
little bit more fun, hopefully.
Yeah, it's more mainstream, a little bit more commercial, where it is more accessible for people, where they can watch it and not feel completely disgusting afterwards. It does have the early 2000s overly saturated kind of Michael Bay-ish look to it, but it's really fun. And Arlie Ermey is in this movie.
I saw that at the very end of the cast list, Arlie Ermey. I was like, no shit.
I didn't recognize him at first, but then he started throwing out some insults. He's like, you fucking bitch. And I was like, oh, I know that voice.
I was like, wait a minute, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I know this. And he's really fun. He plays a sheriff in the movie, and then you find out he's part of this family. And him just pretending to be the sheriff for a bit is really fun, because he's just fucking with these kids. And it's Arlie Ermey, and he's incredible. So I really enjoyed the 2003 remake. I think it's a lot of fun.
How violent? Because my wife, I want to watch one of these Texas Chainsaw movies, because I've heard some of them, some of the later ones. I love the original, but some of the later ones are actually pretty decent. I might check out the second one, the immediate sequel, just because you kind of inadvertently sold me on that movie. How gruesome and gory is this? Just because it's going to be a hard sell for my wife, who doesn't like a lot of gore.
There is, a good bit of gore with one of these movies.
I feel like that it's hard to get away from that aspect in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, right. It plays into it. It has fun with that for sure. It's not unwatchable for somebody. I think Allie could enjoy it still. Yeah. The one that I was kind of most surprised by was the next movie, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which came out in 2006. It's a prequel to this 2003 movie, stars Jordana Brewster, and my first note here that I wrote down is Jordana Brewster is insanely hot in this movie.
Okay.
And it really...
You thought you'd forget that one?
I thought I would forget. I wanted to remember, and it really brought me back to the early Fast and Furious days. One of the first crushes I ever had in a movie was Jordana Brewster as Mia in those movies, and it's in that same time period. Anyways, so I'm just a big fucking pig. Just be like, hey, these chicks are hot in horror movies, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But this movie actually was pretty fun too. I mean, it does, again, it follows the same formula of that movie, of the Texas Chainsaw movie, but it does have a little bit more, it's not great emotional depth or anything, but these two brothers are going to go to Vietnam, and one of them isn't really that passionate about it. He's trying to find a way to tell his brother he doesn't want to go. And then them and their two girlfriends get captured by the Texas Chainsaw family. And so even just there, it's a little bit of a different dynamic between the core group of people there. Yeah. So that adds a little bit, and I think it's, again, really fun. Arlie Ermey is in this movie again, and the whole kind of family comes back from that original, or from the 2003 movie. and it ties in a few things to the 2003 one that you don't really need explained, but it does it just because fuck it, why not? Like, how did this person get that scar? Or how did they, all that sort of shit. But it's pretty fun, and Matt Bomer's in this movie too. He has a fun role, and it's like these two movies like are kind of the two Texas Chainsaw ones I think I would rewatch the most over the original one. Like, even though that movie is clearly the better movie, but these ones I just really had a fun time watching. It was a good little back-to-back. And Jonathan Liebesman directed this movie. He did such classics as Battle Los Angeles and Wrath of the Titans and the 2014 TMNT movie with Megan Fox. It's kind of fun.
I don't like Battle Los Angeles. I think that movie's very boring, but Wrath of the Titans, that movie fucking hits for me. I love that movie. I think visually that's a great fucking experience too. I remember seeing that movie before going on a vacation with my family to the Dominican. And it was literally the day of. I had my mom drop me off at the earliest morning showtime for Wrath of the Titans in Buffalo, and then she picked me up and we went to the airport. And it was one of my favorite movie going experiences. I was the only one in the theater at 10 a.m. on a fucking Tuesday or whatever the day of the week it was. And watching Wrath of the Titans, that movie kind of hits. Every time I try to rewatch it, I can't get through it, but it kind of hits.
That's not bad.
And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is pretty decent. So the directors that are attached to both of the 2003 and this 2006 one, I'm like, all right, we have decent people behind the camera. I have confidence in Marcus Nispel for the first one or the 2003 version. So I don't know. These are the ones I've seen the most about recently because a lot of the things that I do leading up to falling asleep in bed is doom scrolling on what new Blu-ray release is coming out, and I keep seeing the Arrow, I think it was Arrow Video releases of these two specifically, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't know that there was necessarily a cult following with these ones to really warrant a nice new release or collector's edition release for these films. So these are the ones that have been kind of more on my docket. I'm happy that they worked for you because now I'm like, all right, well, maybe I don't watch Texas Chainsaw 2 and I watch these two first, and then if I want to, I can go back, because I think these ones would be a fun watch. And from what I've heard, they're some of the better ones of all of the releases.
For sure.
So that kind of excites me. Moving into, I've been at home all day Thursday, Friday, today, Saturday, and today being Sunday. I've been at home nonstop watching Halloween and horror movies and all this shit. Just because my wife got her wisdom teeth out, so we were just kind of saddled up at home watching a bunch of the stuff that we really like to watch in October, especially late October. So I'm gonna rattle through some of these. I'll spend some. Excuse you.
The hog outside.
Yeah, the hog out there. I got cut off by a hog on my way here. I almost fucking just tipped him over.
Should have.
Didn't, because no helmet. Don't want to kill a guy. But anyway. I've been watching a lot of horror movies, and I'm going to rattle through some of these. Some of them I'll spend more time on, but mostly we're going to go through pretty quick. These are just some of fun watches that I've done for the first time or for the upteenth time this year. So I did watch Hell of a Summer from 2025 earlier this year, directed by Billy Brick and Finn Wolfhard, which was kind of an interesting thing, seeing a movie made by Finn Wolfhard. Follows a bunch of counselors at a summer camp that are being terrorized by a mass killer. It is a completely fine throwaway horror slasher set at a camp. It's very much like an ode to the 80s films, but we have more modern day humor in it. So it overall is a fine watch. It's not a good movie. It's interesting to see a movie directed by Finn Wolfhard where it's just give me Stranger Things season 5 and shut the fuck up. Just can we get there already? So I wouldn't recommend this movie to a lot of people, but if you're in kind of a hunger for more modern or recent horror films from this past year that you might have missed out on, like I did, I would check out Hell of a Summer. I will say, movies where there's a masked killer and then we find out who the masked killer is, I feel like that reveal in every movie I've ever seen, aside from maybe Scream, has always been disappointing. Even in the later Scream films, even in Hard Eyes, which is a movie I love, directed by Josh Rubin, I feel like the reveal of who the killer is always disappointing, and the reveal of who the killer, or killers, ooh, scary, are in Hell of a Summer, kind of just okay, just kind of a shrug. So it's not the best movie, it's not really great, but it's a decent enough watch. So if you find yourself home alone at night and you want to watch a little saucy dip back into the 80s camp counselor slasher films, watch Hell of a Summer. It's a decent enough watch. My wife and I also sat down and watched Halloween Town, directed by Dwayne and Dunham. That's the way he spells his fucking name, so that's the way we're going to say it. Who I didn't know had much of a career. He did a couple episodes of the animated Star Wars Clone Wars, but he also directed and edited a couple of episodes of one of my current favorite shows of all time, which is the original run of Twin Peaks, the first 2 seasons. So I thought that was interesting. But Halloween Town is just like, that is the classic Disney Halloween movie for me and my wife. We both love it so much, so we watch it every year. We probably watch it like two to three times a year. It stars Debbie Reynolds, who immediately makes me think of my mother-in-law, just like the salt of the earth, an amazing woman. So, but it's about a young girl who lives in a family that they're like, we don't acknowledge Halloween. No, shut the fuck up. We don't talk about that. And she's like, why not? And then she discovers her grandma's a witch, and she has this like witch bloodline and all this stuff, and they travel Halloween Town, and it's a fight against the darkness. I don't know, it's kind of a formulaic kids movie, but it's just such a fantastic nostalgic trip for me and my wife every year when we watch it. So I love Halloween Town. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. I think it is a good like October must watch. It's something that should be on your list. Another one that is something that definitely should be on your watch list for October, which is a project or a property or a show that I don't think many people do watch, just because it is an animated kids show that came out on Cartoon Network. The 10-episode series Over the Garden Wall that was released in 2014 is one of my favorite things ever. It was created by Patrick McHale and Katie Krentz. It stars Elijah Wood, Colin Dean, or has the voice acting of Elijah Wood, Colin Dean, Melanie Linsky, Christopher Lloyd, and John Cleese, and a lot of other actors kind of popping up here and there. But it's about two brothers finding themselves, they're lost in the woods, and they're trying to get home. And they run into all these different, like, the woodsman or the beast, and they're just trying to figure out, one, how to work with each other because they don't get along as brothers, and it's really sweet, their dynamic and their relationship. And also, they have a frog that they can't figure out the name. Let's figure out the name of the frog. Let's also try and find our way home. Let's help the woodsman light a lamp. There's a lot of different aspects to this, and it gets kind of surprisingly dark and also surprisingly folky for a show that released on Cartoon Network for kids. So I would definitely recommend that. It's 10 episodes. It's 5 episodes with 2 chapters in each episode, the way the Cartoon Network would release something like that. And each episode is 20 minutes. So if you watch all 5 episodes, all 10 chapters, it's 100 minutes. So it's an hour and 40. It's like its own little animated movie, and it works so well if you watch it just all the way through, marathon it. It's fantastic. I love it. We watch it every year, and I definitely recommend it.
You guys dressed up as Halloween for that a couple years ago, right?
For Halloween, I was Wirt, just because that fits my personality of a more stoic, somewhat bumbling, awkward guy that's not so like fun-loving. And then my wife dressed up as Greg with like the pumpkin on her foot, and Greg is the more like fun-loving, whimsical, like, I'm gonna leave candy so that we have a way to get home when we get lost. And then, the fucking dog ate all the candy. What should we name this frog? Mr. President? We'll name him Mr. President. No, we're gonna name him Jason Thunderburger or some stupid shit. It's just, it's a great show, and I don't think a lot of people, like, I recommended it to my older brother, and when I'm like, it's an animated show from Cartoon Network, like, he's like immediately turned off. I think it's worth checking out no matter what your age is. It's a good thing, especially if you have small kids. Lindsay and Jake, watch it with little Benny. He will fucking love it. It's a great show. So that, honestly, of all the things I watch, that gets my highest praise, highest vote of confidence, big thumbs up. Watch Over the Garden Wall. These other 3 I'm going to rip through. Halloween Ends.
Boo!
Halloween Ends from 2022. A movie I actually really dig. Very off-putting for like the typical Halloween story or the Michael Myers storyline. Very interesting deviations from what you'd expect from a Halloween movie. I kind of like it. Kind of fuck with it. I watched that the other day, and I think I might make my Halloween Day movie Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That might be my way to cap off October, because I love that movie. Mm-hmm. But I love the Halloween franchise. I'm a big apologist for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, especially between me and Corey, because he hates both of those movies, which, like, I don't think that they're perfect. I don't even 100% think that they're good, but I like some of the things that they try to do in them, and they're enjoyable enough for me. So Halloween Ends, I watched. I still really like that movie. Sorry, Corey. Another movie that kind of got lambasted from what I remember when we were kids, in 2012, the Tim Burton film Dark Shadows. My wife and I love this movie. It's not good. This one I will outright say it's not a good movie. It's just a good, campy little Halloween experience. You get Johnny Depp, Michelle Pfeiffer, Helena Bonham Carter. Every single person that Tim Burton wants to work with is in this movie, and it's just about a vampire kind of returning, an imprisoned vampire, Barnabas Collins, who is set free and returns to his ancestral home, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? And all of his like normal human family and relatives are like, you're kind of weird. And he's like, I am a fucking vampire. So I don't know. It's It's a fun, campy Halloween watch, and it has a great soundtrack. Like, you're getting Season of the Witch, you're getting, Knights in White Satin, like, you're getting all the good, like, heavy hitters. You get Fear the Reaper and all that shit. So I like that movie enough to watch it every year, and it's a great watch with my wife. But the big thing, I've been watching Twin Peaks The Return. I've mentioned that I watched the original 2-season run of Twin Peaks. I also watched Twin Peaks Fire and Walk with Me. I did watch The Missing Pieces, which is an interesting experience to sit through because it is a bunch of deleted scenes just kind of cut together. But I've now since started Twin Peaks The Return season, the third season of Twin Peaks, if you look at it all as a collective. But this is 100% directed and show run by David Lynch. Mark Frost is still attached as a creator. And this is such an interesting kind of divergence in what I was expecting from Twin Peaks, because the original run, the 2-season Twin Peaks, it plays out like a soap opera, and we have Agent Dale Cooper as this main through line. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, because I'd recommend that you watch the show because it's so fucking weird and I can't explain it to people. But that season 2 ending is one of my favorite season finales of a show ever, and it ends on such a cliffhanger that in the beginning aspects or beginning episodes, I've only watched the first 6 of the 18 episodes of The Return. In the beginning 6 episodes so far, we've really been diving into the answer to that cliffhanger. It's just taking a lot of time, which I don't hate. Anything made by David Lynch, I'm at least interested in. And this feels like David Lynch Unchained. Like, he is just doing whatever surrealist, out there, wacky shit he wants, which I'm here for, but sometimes I'm like, okay, you're throwing everything at the wall and I can't catch it all. Like, I'm watching this show so far, the way I'm watching it is the way I would watch something in school when they're given like a worksheet in like high school of like, hey, we're gonna watch this documentary, fill out the worksheet alongside it, and if you miss something, maybe look it up. That's what I'm doing with this show. If something gets mentioned that I don't remember or don't know, I look it up and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll find out about that in an episode. Okay, so put it on the back burner for a little bit. Like, this is a hard show to understand, and I don't think you're meant to understand all of it because it lives off of surrealist imagery and dream logic and awkward pauses in conversations between characters. I love it. It's weird. I can't wait to finish it. I started episode 7. I'm excited to finish that because I've heard so many great things about episode 8 in The Return. So I will be hopefully getting through more of that, maybe the latter or the second third of this season. Honestly, I might just try and wrap it up before the end of next week, or before the end of this week. But Twin Peaks The Return, been watching it. I love watching it every morning on the weekends with a cup of coffee while my wife is asleep and I'm with the puppy. So it's a great time. Anything Twin Peaks related, watch it. It's worth it, and it's an interesting little fucking nugget of sci-fi horror television you can watch.
Woo! You had a watch week.
I know, I'm sweating. My lip is fucking wet.
You can see, you're panting over there.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want beer and I need ice water. Like, I need to settle down. I wore a sweatshirt and no shirt underneath, so I'm just wet.
I feel bad. Did you want to suckle from the teat of the pumpkin?
I'm not gonna lock lips with it because we're not that close.
I feel like, you gotta... Nice. Give it a squirt.
I don't know why I thought it was going to be cider. Like, I was like, this is going to be sweet. And then it was just beer at the back of my throat.
Same beer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's home right there.
This is good. This is good stuff. Anyways, no, I'm glad that, this is the time of year to hit all those watches. This week, like I mentioned, I'm going to catch up on some movies from last week, but something I may try and watch this week, or that, like, I kind of associate with fall, aside from, like, the classics of, like, Halloween, and obviously all those, whatever. But the 2017 It, I love that movie, and that's such a like cozy fall movie for me. We talked about Sinister a little bit last week. Scott Derrickson, I think that's great. One of my coworkers just watched that movie for the first time. He's like, dude, this is fucking great. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you're finally catching up on it.
A movie from 2011?
2012, 2011, something like that. But aside from horror movies, some that I always just think of with fall, kind of going into like Thanksgiving and Christmas too, the Harry Potter movies. Yeah. The going back to school, the like going home for a Christmas break, and like all the sweaters and stuff. Like, that's so nostalgic. And then the Lord of the Rings movies are just fall to me.
Interesting, really?
Where like growing up, every year we'd watch the extended editions of like up at my cabin in Brainerd. So like it's fall out. Yeah. We're sitting in, me and my dad for the weekend, and just watching Lord of the Rings, and it's so nostalgic for me. It just kind of has like the out in the woods feel to it.
I do know a lot of people that typically watch them right around Christmas, like every year. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, that does make sense. To me, that's like a spring movie, but I'm also like, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan where I watch it religiously. But I was reorganizing my movie shelves at home, and I was like, I grabbed my Lord of the Rings Blu-ray because I just have like the 3 theatrical releases. I'm not going to watch the extended versions. I'm sorry. Fake fan if you want to say that. And also Two Towers is the best. Return of the King is fine at best, which is a hot take I have. But one movie for me for fall that isn't necessarily like a horror movie, it's more recent, is Knives Out. Like might be this week. I might try and squeeze that into, and it's just a good like cozy feeling. It's also like if I don't get it in this week, that's a good November watch. Like just something
before
like,
Wake Up Dead Man. Yeah,
for sure.
No, that's a definitely good choice too. I think Lord of the Rings, like Fellowship of the Ring, especially kind of feels like fall to me.
Yeah.
Like especially the back half when they're in the woods and Boromir and all that stuff. So I may try and watch those at some point this fall season. But coming out this week, on Wednesday, we actually have a movie called Anniversary coming out, which is directed by Jan Kamasa. Got a big cast here: Diane Lane, Kyle Chandler, Madeline Brewer, Zoe Deutsch, Phoebe Dynevor, Dylan O'Brien, and McKenna Grace. And it's a thriller about a close-knit family that is torn apart as a new movement called The Change envelops the country. I've seen the trailer one time for this. I think we saw it together in a movie.
Yeah, when we were when we were watching Jaws.
I think Jaws, yeah, and it looked fine. I don't know. It could be an interesting thriller. The cast is honestly kind of the thing that's like all those people together in a movie seems interesting. So that one could be okay. The one I'm most excited for this week and was on my 10 most anticipated movies of the year. Was it number 6?
I think it was your number 6.
Wow.
Because I made those lists and there was no poster for Begonia, so it was just a photo of Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone. I was like, sure.
All that we had, last December or whatever it was when we made these lists was that the little plot of the movie they gave was that Jesse Plemons thinks that Emma Stone is an alien, and it's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. Amazing. That's fucking perfect. This is essentially the same plot, except it's Jesse Plemons and another guy, and they kidnap Emma Stone, who's the CEO of a major company, and they're convinced that she is an alien that's trying to destroy the Earth. I love that premise. I love the creative team behind this movie. It is a remake of a 2003 South Korean movie called Save the Green Planet, which I haven't seen, but I've heard some people mention is pretty good.
I never knew that. Okay.
So I do want to watch that, but I think I want to see Begonia first, because I don't want any, spoilers or if anything carries over.
Experience with this.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just, I love the teaming up of Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone. Poor Things and The Favorite have been 2 great movies. And Jesse Plemons, I love seeing him in anything. He's just a weird little character. So this is one I am so stoked for. I cannot wait to see.
I just Googled this because I have no idea what the word begonia means. Do you know what it means?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this is coming from the Copilot search, so it's helping me out. But begonia refers to an ancient belief that bees were spontaneously generated from the carcasses of animals, particularly cows. The term derives from the Greek word of cattle, which I can't say that word, and it derives from cattle and born. So I don't understand. That beekeeping was an aspect of the trailers from what I've seen. So I'm I don't know how much we're going to tie into that, but I'm also what an interesting begonia for the name of a movie. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised with Yorgos Lanthimos. His sense of humor fucking hits so hard, and I don't get it. Whether it's I didn't love Kinds of Kindness. I know you did.
Oh yeah.
But there is aspects of Kinds of Kindness where it happened, and I was just that is the funniest thing I've ever seen, and it's also so horrible.
Yeah, and I hope there's more of that here. I feel like there will be. So I'm absolutely pumped for that one. The other kind of limited release coming out this week is Nouvelle Vague, which we mentioned that Richard Linklater has Blue Moon coming out last week. We mentioned this is coming out. And it's about young real-life director Jean-Luc Godard and him making his movie Breathless, which I haven't seen. But it looks very old-timey. It's in black and white. Yeah. And it seems kind of old Hollywood, which I like seeing movies like that. I really enjoyed Mank from David Fincher a few years back. Just movies that are kind of about filmmaking back in the golden age of Hollywood. And I'm not really familiar with Jean-Luc Godard, so I may try and watch Breathless before I see this movie. I believe this is coming to Netflix later, too. And it looks fun. Zoe Deutsch, again, is in this movie.
She's having a baller year. She's in fucking everything. And I keep hearing the, speculation that she has maybe an awards caliber, Oscar caliber performance in this, which really excites me because I'm oh wow, Sweet Life on Deck, and now we're here, sweet.
Zombieland Double Tap and all this.
Oh my god, most annoying and attractive character all at once.
100%. But yeah, Begonia is the one I'm absolutely going to see this week, and then Nouvelle Vague. I don't know if it'll be in theaters this week, but I haven't seen a Linklater movie in theaters, so when this one comes out, I think this is the one I'll see over Blue Moon. I'm just a little bit more interested in this one.
Yeah, I'm more interested in Nouvelle Vague than Blue Moon. I would recommend maybe seeing Breathless before you see this, just because I think it might... Like, I don't love the film Breathless. It's from the 60s. It's like French New Wave, and that stuff just doesn't 100% work for me, which is just me being really nerdy for a little bit about film shit. But it doesn't really work for me. I think the movie is like, it's that conversation of I admire it, but I don't love it. Like, I appreciate it for its skill and the way it's put together, but it doesn't connect with me. I'm still, like, I saw the trailer, I think, finally for the first time in preparation or at the theater watching Frankenstein. It popped up, and I was like, God, this looks... It's crazy how true to the feel and the aesthetic of Breathless this film is. A movie that was made in 1960 and a movie in 2025 can perfectly replicate it. So I'm pretty sold on it. I'm excited for that. But you're right. Begonia here is that is the main event. Mm-hmm. That is what we're going for and gunning for, just because Emma Stone honestly can do no wrong. Jesse Plemons is like slowly and surely just proving to me that he's one of the best actors working today. Him in Civil War, even in Kinds of Kindness, like
Game Night,
Breaking Bad, like Game Night is awesome pull, where he's just holding this fucking dog the entire time.
How can that be profitable for Frito-Lay?
Yeah, you guys have 2 bags of Frito-Lay scoops. You only have 2 people over?
So
That's a
funny.
lot of scoops.
Watch Game Night if you haven't seen that.
Game Night's an underrated, amazing comedy film from the past couple of years. So, yeah, Begonia is going to be the must-watch. I'll probably try and check that out Thursday night because I don't want to watch that on Halloween. I want more of like a Halloween-esque movie on that day. But Begonia is the rush out. Go check it out in theaters. It's going to be weird and interesting, and I can't wait for it. Moving into a physical media roundup. Halloween in this time of year is always so detrimental and damaging to my fucking bank account because I'm like, any horror movie I want to watch, I don't own it, I should buy it. So, Hush, I bought, the film by Mike Flanagan. I think, was this his directorial debut? Or it was one of his earlier films, if not his directorial debut. And it's a great film just about a home invasion with a character that is primarily deaf and can't hear. So it's just such a great premise. I bought the 4K Blu-ray. I believe it's a Shout Select or Scream Factory that released it. I'm really excited about that. Also about the Blair Witch Project. Shelby Oaks got me feeling some sort of way about found footage, so I really want to go back and watch the Blair Witch Project because from what I can remember, of all the horror movies I've ever seen in my life, Blair Witch Project, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Hereditary. Those 3 movies scared me the most. I remember watching the Blair Witch Project with my older brother Blake, and my older brother Blake was always like a really popular kid in school, but he was always really nice to me because he would let me like hang out with his friends and him when he had friends over. And they were watching Blair Witch Project, and he was like, I was like, can I, like, I don't want to overstep, but can I watch this with you as, like, an 8 or 9-year-old? And he was like, yeah, you can watch it with us. And he was like, it is a true story, though. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was just fucking terrified the entire time.
Perfect older brother
I was
thing.
like, why are we watching this? They're all dying. Like, what's going on? Why does no one care? Like, why haven't we looked into this? Blair Witch Project is a fantastic horror film, and it's still so effective, so I'm excited to rewatch it. My wife has never seen it, so I'll probably try and show that to her, too. And I also ordered The Evil Dead 2 on 4K Blu-ray. I'm not the biggest fan of the first 2 Evil Dead films, but of those 2 films, I think that they, like, in Evil Dead 2, they really correct the formula, because it's kind of like a remake of the first... It's a weird franchise. It's such a weird franchise. Evil Dead 2 is a fun sequel. It's more campy, and you get more of, like, the Ash... iconic imagery of him with the chainsaw, like all that shit. So I'm excited to watch that movie again because I haven't seen it for a while. So I did buy that as well, and that should be coming in the mail tomorrow. Can't wait.
I do. I love the first 3 Evil Dead movies. They're all so interesting. Like Army of Darkness too.
What a weird trilogy.
Crazy. Like I love the feel of the Evil Dead, the original, just so low budget. Sam Raimi just like putting everything into it. And then Evil Dead 2, it's kind of like a little bit more money, a little more campy fun.
We're gonna do this again, but we're gonna do a little bit slightly of a genre shift and a little bit more of a comedic take on it.
Yeah, which is fun. But yeah, that Hush 4K Blu-ray you got, you actually got that for me last year, I think for Christmas or something.
Completely forgot, but it's such a great movie, and I don't know if it's readily available on streaming anywhere. So I was like, I'm happy to buy this because I really want to watch that.
And movie. I think that one has like the black and white version on there too, which is fun to have like multiple versions of the movie.
The Chrome and what was the Mad Max Fury Road?
Blood and Chrome.
Blood and Chrome.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
cool. Or like the Logan Noir release.
Logan Noir is sick. That is honestly better. Like
that's baller.
It's so good.
Yeah. Coming out this week, we have a couple new releases. The Toxic Avenger from this year with Peter Dinklage is coming out. And then Smurfs with Rihanna. Because that's how they put it on the poster or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something, Rihanna is in Smurfs or whatever the fuck they said. And then Americana, the Sydney Sweeney movie, which came out earlier this year, is coming out on Blu-ray as well.
Completely forgot about that movie.
And A few older titles coming out. We have Edward Scissorhands on 4K. Sort of a Halloweenish.
It's like Halloween, Christmas. It fits in the fall.
Yeah. The one I'm most excited for, and perfect timing, is the Nightmare Alley 4K Criterion is coming out. And they have the black and white version on there, which I know you saw that in theaters.
That's the version I saw, yeah.
Okay.
That's the only version I've ever seen. I've never seen this movie in color.
Okay, so yeah, I saw it in color in theaters, but I'm curious to watch it in 4K, and just with Frankenstein, I might be in the mood. Especially with the Criterion sale coming up. This is perfect time. I'm kind of making my list of a few things I want to get. So this is like, perfect. I love the cover for this, too. Like, it's
I haven't seen it.
Black and white, and it's like a swirl with an eye in the middle. It's such cool artwork for this. Very, very excited for that. Shin Godzilla is coming out on 4K, and then a few of the Saw movies are coming out on 4K as well. We have Saw 2, 3, and 4. I love Saw 2. I think that movie's great. Saw 3 is really fun. Saw 4 is meh. It's okay. But some older titles.
This is a baller Criterion.
Isn't that awesome?
That is such a cool... That feels so old-timey. That is so fucking cool. It feels like a 60s film.
Yeah. So I'm definitely getting that in November. For that Criterion sale, because I don't own that movie yet, Nightmare Alley, and I am really excited to actually rewatch it. And also, when I saw it in theaters, me and my buddy in college saw it, and there was a couple that was like making out the entire time, like just a few seats away,
smack the entire movie,
and we were kind of like, "Hey, can you quiet down a little bit?" Trying to be polite, but also like, "Hey, shut the fuck up!" Also, and they just kept smacking lips. Just
either be quiet or show me something.
And that's a long movie as well. Like, it's not short, so it's like, wow, we have a lot of time left.
Yeah, I love Nightmare Alley. I already own it on Blu-ray, but that Criterion's fucking sexy. It's when does the Criterion sale like kick off? Is it like November? Or it's close to Christmas because they coincided with the holiday season and all that shit. But I'm like, there's so many movies that every time I go to like a Barnes & Noble or wherever there's Criterions, I'm like, what?
It's like the Black Friday now that's kind of less for like Target and Best Buy, obviously. Like, going to Barnes & Noble for Criterion sale, Black Friday, perfect.
I feel like we do that probably once a year together. We'll go to a Barnes & Noble. It's like, what are you getting? Like, all right, well, I got 3 movies. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, 50% off. It's a great deal. If you want to go check out some old movies you maybe have never heard of or you've always wanted to check out, go check those out at Barnes & Noble.
A lot of good classics. I'm also just like, I really like Nightmare Alley. I don't think it's like one of the best films ever. Yes, it's made by Guillermo del Toro, so it visually is awesome. It's just like interesting to see. Like, I'm like, what is the criteria for a Criterion Collection film? I'm interested in seeing like what movies get kind of selected into it, which I am happy. I'm hoping Frankenstein gets one just so that we can get a release of it, because it's going to be a Netflix, so I doubt that they'll push an actual release in office or in-house through their company. They'll push a release up. Netflix doesn't really do that. Which they should. Hey, release the rest of the Stranger Things seasons on like your VHS cases. Those were sick. But I'm hoping Frankenstein gets one. If Nightmare Alley got one, I'm like, that makes me feel confident that Frankenstein will likely get its own release with a Criterion Collection as well. Moving into movie news, something a little bit more interesting and surprising, also kind of lines up pretty well with October and the spooky season. Ty West, who made the X, Maxine, Pearl, which I said that was completely out of order, but that franchise, that trilogy, also director of The Innkeepers and House of the Devil, is attached to be making a new Ebenezer Christmas Carol movie, which I'm like, oh, okay, I like this horror director moving into more of like a typically like family tale Christmas story. But this movie will be released in November 13th of 2026. But who is playing Scrooge? Johnny Depp. And I feel like sometimes you say something like that, a lot of people get up in arms. It's like, how is he still acting? It's like, did you watch all of that weird-ass trial between him and Amber Heard? I don't know what all he was guilty of, except for being a really alcoholic and really enjoying a mega pint of wine. It was a weird trial. No one looked good in that trial, but I'm happy that Johnny Depp has slowly kind of been able to move back into the filmmaking business, because I love Johnny Depp. And I don't think that it's a bad thing to say that I love Johnny Depp. And I'm excited to see him in more projects. But he will be playing Scrooge in the lead role. Also, alongside him, we got Andrea Riseborough, who is a phenomenal actress who is joining the cast. So this is an interesting development, interesting little movie news tidbit that I was not, like, it was just such an oddball news topic, like, out of nowhere. So I'm stoked for it. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great for next November, leading into the Christmas season. Hopefully, with Ty West at the helm, we get more of those horror dynamic or horror elements that really come with the Christmas Carol of Ghost of Christmas Future and Past and all that shit. So I'm sold as fuck. I'm excited for that.
It looks really cool. And I'm happy to see Johnny Depp kind of coming back. It's been a few years now, and I feel like he can come back. I know there's been talks of like another Pirates movie or something.
Like, do you bring him in? Do you not? I'm like, please do.
Yeah, well, it will be interesting. But I'm excited for that for sure. Another fun, exciting bit of news that I loved is that The Mitchells vs. the Machines 2 is happening. Got announced this week. It's going to be directed by Guillermo Martinez and J.P. Sands. And the first movie, I think, is so good. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature back in 2020. The movie came out in 21. I think it was 22 for those Oscars. But Lord and Miller were some producers on that movie. And it's so much fun. It is like the robot apocalypse is happening and this family has to stop it. And genuinely some of the funniest moments that I've seen in an animated movie in a long time. Yeah. The animation style I also think was really great and I love that. So I think Netflix is releasing it again. I hope that they give this a theatrical release because it was kind of a weird time when the first one came out. I don't think it went to theaters really. It was just kind of straight to Netflix. So this is news I'm excited for, and I haven't rewatched that first movie in a long time, so I'm stoked to give that another watch and see this one, hopefully in theaters.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The first time I tried to watch this movie, I heard like so many great things about it, and I fell asleep just because I was tired, but then after the long delay and finally revisiting the movie, it's one of my favorite animated movies of the last, 10 years. I love the animation. I love the family dynamic. Is Nick Offerman the dad? Who plays the dad in this film?
Think so.
I'm seeing Danny McBride.
Oh, Danny McBride. Yeah,
Danny McBride is the dad. I need to rewatch this, but it has an all-star cast of like you got Fred Armisen, you got Maya Rudolph, you got Danny McBride, like we mentioned, Olivia Colman. Like you have a good cast here, but also good cast, great animation. It's a love letter to filmmaking. Like you have a main character in Katie, I believe, who is just a massive wants to go to school for film, and she makes her own home films. It's like the animated kids version of The Fabelmans. Like it's just a love letter to film, and movies that look at film as like a passion and not just like, oh, this is something that we make movies get made, it's a business. When it's something that has passion behind it, it's like, oh fuck, that's just so intoxicating to watch. So I'm all for a sequel. I'm kind of surprised it's taken them this long to kind of greenlight this because it's one of Netflix's probably more successful original films, and it's a great animated movie, so I can't wait. We've talked a little bit in the past as well about Joseph Kosinski being attached to making a new Miami Vice movie. We had the original series, I think that was in the 80s, which I know nothing about aside from like the color palette and like Grand Theft Auto, is it Vice City or something like that? Playing that on PlayStation 2 like a fucking heathen. And you have like the Michael Mann movie from 2006, but a new adaptation of Miami Vice is coming with Joseph Kosinski, which really excites me. And there are two actors kind of in the running, rumored to be our two co-leads. We got Michael B. Jordan in talks to play Ricardo Tubbs and Austin Butler to play Sonny Crockett, which literally it just sounds like any person working in Hollywood was like, hey, the two hot shots, one white actor, one black actor, let's put them together. And it's like, okay, so you guys just pick two of the easiest guys, but also it's an obvious choice, but it works so well. So I'm on board for that. I like this pairing. I think that they could have great chemistry. I love both the actors. That excites me. And like I said, I don't really have a whole lot of a background with Miami Vice, so whatever they give me is probably going to be my version of this story or of this team. So whoever they think works best together, I'm sold on it. And with these names attached, two amazing actors who consistently are just some of the best actors working today and of this generation. Yeah, I'm sold. Can't wait.
Yeah, 100%. Like the team coming together for this movie is awesome. Those two are just such rising stars for the past 5-6 years. They've just been doing so much great work, so I can't wait to see them there. The last bit of news is very interesting that just came out of nowhere.
Like a fart in the wind, just out of nowhere. Like no one knew.
Steven Soderbergh revealed that he was developing a Star Wars movie with Adam Driver called The Hunt for Ben Solo, which was going to take place after The Rise of Skywalker. We don't really have specific plot details, but some way Ben Solo would return.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow. But Disney didn't really understand how that would work. And so there was a completed script, and this was the first time that Disney rejected a script for a Star Wars film that had a completed script. I guess Kathleen Kennedy told Steven Soderbergh, like, no, we don't really understand it, or the Star Wars, Lucasfilm, whatever.
They're like, we just got rinsed for Rise of Skywalker. We're not revisiting this right now. But maybe Rey, but not this.
Which, maybe not a bad move. It's, man, I don't know. This would have been really interesting to see. I think Steven Soderbergh doing a Star Wars movie could really work. And Adam Driver as Ben Solo, Kylo Ren is... I think people can agree on whether you like the sequels or not, that he is one of the best parts of the sequels.
Sequel trilogy.
And, like, I don't know what the story for this movie would have been, or, like, what the hunt for Ben Solo means. Like, somebody looking for him? Is he coming back and hunting? Like, I don't know. It would have been really cool to see, but I think it's probably better that it didn't. I think having this gap of movies, or of not having a Star Wars movie in theaters, has been nice.
Yeah.
It sucks that we still have so much coming out on Disney Plus that it kind of is still not feeling as special, even with, like, Mandalorian and Grogu coming out. I'm excited for that movie, but it doesn't have the same, like, oh, we're getting another Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Like, I just saw the 10-year, like, anniversary of some of the first Force Awakens trailers when those came out during, like, Monday Night Football, and just seeing, like, those were peak trailers.
Oh my god. You're announcing, like, one of the biggest blockbusters coming to cinema in 40 years, but also the trailers are cut together so well. They build anticipation. They're
the
just
music.
So... There's been an awakening.
Oh,
it's so good. So, I don't know. I'm okay with this not happening. It's more like we've had so many Star Wars projects greenlit or announced or talked about or had different creatives attached. We had the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, and we had a Rian Johnson trilogy. We had, like, all these fucking films that were supposed to happen, or like the Rey movie that was, like, basically almost in pre-production or production that kind of got snuffed away. And Rogue Squadron, like, from Patty Jenkins, and, like, I like that we've kind of had a lull to kind of give that time of Star Wars a break and let it breathe. Because I like the sequel trilogy, and I like every film in the sequel trilogy, which is a hot take for most people, because people hate Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. I like both of those movies, and Last Jedi is my third favorite Star Wars film. Fucking love that movie. Sue me. Actually, don't. I don't have a lot of money. But I would like if there was a lull in Star Wars if we weren't getting all of these announcements for development for projects that just didn't happen. So I'm like, it's weird that this one, with a completed script and a good creative behind it with Steven Soderbergh, unless the script is somehow just absolute ass, like, I'm like, how do you not make that movie? Mm-hmm. Unless you don't want to touch the Rise of Skywalker, the sequel trilogy characters, but then there was all this commotion about a Rey Skywalker film. So I'm like, what are we doing? Where are we drawing the line? What was the thing that made them say no? Because, yeah, like you said, Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, that character, the arc isn't the most, like, pristine thing in the world. But I think that is a character that the majority of fans, whether you like the sequel trilogy or not, can agree is a strong point in that franchise. So, I would have been down for it. We're getting a fucking Hunt for Gollum movie. Give me a Hunt for Ben Solo movie. Like, let's go. Like, I don't give a shit. So, like, Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm excited for it because it's a Star Wars movie, but also it just feels like a continuation of the TV show I can watch on Disney Plus for the monthly subscription fee that I pay, that they keep raising. So, I'm like, Star Wars has lost some of its specialness. I don't know if this would have saved it, but if you're comparing it to what we're getting with Mandalorian and Grogu, I would be way more excited to explore more of Ben Solo than Mandalorian and Grogu on the big screen. So it's a weird story to just kind of pop out of nowhere, and it's a weird pairing with Steven Soderbergh and Star Wars, but I love Soderbergh, and I love Star Wars, so I think that's really interesting. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's something that's never going to be. It's like the George Miller Justice League of, like, the early 2000s that got rumored with Armie Hammer as Batman before he started eating people, potentially. I don't know. So I don't know. This might be a missed thing, or we could have dodged a bullet. This movie could have been shit. So it could have been Attack of the Clones again. I don't know.
Could have been.
But yeah, it's an interesting story to touch on. But regardless, thanks for joining us and sitting with us for us just yapping about Halloween movies and Star Wars at the end of it. But another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast, down the hatch. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews and movie news. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Leave us a comment, leave us a rating, leave us a review. I think we have like a 4-star review or 4.1 star review or something. I'm like, mostly positive when it's just two bumbling drunks from Minnesota talking about movies and drinking. So
with dogs barking,
motorcycles
going outside,
by, sirens going on, us talking about women in tight tank tops. Like, it's very much appreciated.
Woo!
But like I say every week, in film, it's not just about what's on screen, it's about who's next to you in the theater.
Happy Halloween to everybody.
Yeah,
enjoy your festivities,
Halloween.
watch your movies, have fun.
Carve a pumpkin.
Carve a pumpkin, yeah.
Get drunk.
That's right. Go out and party too hard. For Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.